The project that we are going to build is complete backend e-commerce web API, and this is the last section of our project. So inside this first part, first we will update our user model and we apply a logic. So user password are stored in hash format inside our database. So I request you, if you haven't watched our previous sections, then the video link of our previous video is in the description, and you can also find our full playlist link also in the description. And if you check my description, there are also one link that is GitHub repository code. So if you got any error while programming in this part, then you can simply copy the code inside your machine. Now let's move inside our project without wasting any time. And now let's update our user model and schema. So now here you can go inside this user.js file, and instead of this name, image and count in stock stuff, I want to write this because I want to get username, email, password, and I check is our user is admin or not, and here I get the address in form of string of our user. Then remember, we update this id to this, so we can easily use this id as a field inside our front end part. So for that I want to go inside our product.js file and copy this. So I can also do this for our user, paste here, and now similar we get the request from our URI like this. I want to get the request for our users. So before that I want to post something. So now go inside our categories route, and here I want to copy this post request and paste inside my users.js file. But now instead of this category I want to write user, and here this is our model. So I write here capital U, and instead of only name, icon and color, I want get these fields that we apply in model. But here you can see there is an error. So inside our user model, here we have to write user instead of our product schema, and then save our file. And here you can see I open my Postman and I select the route that is users, because remember inside our app.js to get our users we provide this route, and I write this post request here, and I copy this stuff of our user name, email, password, phone, our user is admin or not, and our address. Then I send the request and make sure this is in JSON format. So here we get our results of our user, but here you can see the password is showing like this. It is not worthy because we have to hash this password in our backend stuff to avoid hackers. So for that first we have to decrypt this password, and I want to install library called Decrypt Js, and now go inside our users.js file, and here I want to import that. Let's use this library. So for that I want to write here decrypt, and the function name is hash sync, and here you can see our hash sync has written some string and some kind of salt. So this is salt that contains secret. So here we have to pass the secret, and it can be anything, like you can pass here my secret, but I want to pass here like number. You can pass any secret to hash this password, and I want to get only password instead of password hash from my user. So now save the file and let's check this. So now I want to provide a new user here like John, and this is not admin, this is our customer. So I write here false. Remember, admin can also post or delete the product, but our customers cannot update the product or delete the product inside our API. And here I provide only password instead of this password hash. So now let's send the request. So here you get our password in this hash format. So this looks better. Now I want to get this individual user. Click on this get request. So for that, first we have to provide the route. So go inside our categories.js file, and I want to copy this individual get route so we can get user individually. And instead of this category, here we have to write user. Make sure here this is our user model. And now let us save the file. Here I want to send the request. So here I get the details of individual user, but here you can see password hash is working perfectly. And now I want to get all of the users. So send the request, and here you can see we got two users. One of is admin and second is not admin. Now we forgot to create a collection of our users. So here I want to create a new collection, and that is for our users. So create this. So our users collection is created, and here you can see we get all of these things, and here we get password hash in this format, because before applying our Decrypt.js we write here password hash, but I want to get our users details without password. So for that, here we have to write dot select and minus password hash. And for our individual user 2, so let's copy this, send the request, and we get the request without password. So this is more worthy. You can see here the result. Now I want to create a login route so user can log in and access the details of his profile. So for that, this is our post method, because user have to provide his email ID and password inside this field. And we have to use await. So I use this asynchronous function and pass the callback request and response. Create a variable of our user. We got this from model, and we have to use this find one function. So we find our user according his email. So for that, I pass here email request dot body dot email, and here we have to apply our condition. If the user is not found, then return response dot status 400 and send the message the user not found, and if our user will found, then we return this 200 dot send. Now save this file, open Postman, and after this users I provide this login route, and this is our post method. So now inside this body I only have to pass email because we apply logic for only this email. You can see here. So our this user email name is mike@gmail.com, and I write here password anything. This field is not necessary, but let's check this. I apply any password here. Make sure this is like this and send the request. So we will get our user. You can see here according to his email because we apply condition only for email. Now let's apply logic for password. So if our user enter the password with this email which is wrong, so it doesn't get his profile. So for that I apply here another if condition and we check our user and our password is in hash format. So first we have to convert this hash from its normal password. So I write here decrypt and function that is by default compare sync, and we compare two password. First is our user provide inside this login route, so that is request.body.password, and we want to compare the password which is in our user variable. So I write here user.password hash, and if it is right then I send this status code 200 which is successful and send the message user authenticated, and I also have to write else statement because if our user enter wrong password then we have to provide 400 error and send the message password is wrong. So now save this file and let's check this inside our Postman. So here now I send the request and we will get this message that password is wrong because we apply wrong password here. So you can see this password is wrong. If I apply right password and send the request, then you will see password is wrong because remember we registered this mic user before applying our password hash functionality. You can also see in database password hash is 123456. It is not complete password hash like this, and here we apply this if else statement to compare our normal password and password hash. So password is compulsorily converted into hash format, then it will be checked to our this password. So for that I apply our second user that is John that we created after applying our password hash functionality. So now send the request, and here you can see user is authenticated because inside our john@gmail.com password hash is this and it is converted to this password, and the both password are right. So we can see here user authenticated. Let's take a quick pause here, and if you want to continue with the second part, of our last section, then the video link is in the description, and you can also find our full playlist link is also in the description. So inside our next part, we will apply Jwt middleware. So the full form of JWT is JSON Web Token. So if our users have this token, then they will apply to access any API routes inside our project, otherwise not. So I hope you guys are excited for our next part, and if you got any error while programming, then you can check my description. I added the GitHub repository link, so you can simply copy the code inside your computer. I hope you guys like this video, and don't forget to subscribe my channel if you are visiting first time. Thank you and bye bye.